everybody, welcome to the Crafty Maven Getaway. Today is Sketch It Thursday and I'm Desiree's Tell here on YouTube, and today the sketch I'm going to be using is the one that Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life used in her 30-day sketch challenge. So it inspired me, but I'm going to tweak it to fit my own layout. And the photos that I'm going to be using, it had a lot of orange in it. So I went through my stash and I found this crepe paper farmhouse 6x6 paper pad, and when I was going through it I saw this beautiful floral paper, and I knew right away because of all the colors that that was a paper I wanted to use. And I knew I could grab other papers to coordinate, and that would help me out a lot because it has multiple colors. Now there's the two photos that I'm going to be using, both taken on the same night where my husband and I and a couple of our friends' families went out to dinner. And so here I grab I'm so sorry. It is 5 o'clock in the morning and I am running on 2 hours of sleep. We have severe Santa Ana winds, and I don't know if that's what's keeping me from sleeping, but I will go to bed about 9 o'clock, and then I'm not kidding you, 2 hours later I wake up and I just can't go back to sleep. So forgive me if I sound just exhausted, and I gotta work today, so this shall be interesting. Okay, so I pulled some paper. Now that blue paper that you see is a lot bigger than a 6x6 paper. That's actually from October Afternoon's Travel Girl collection, and that blue was perfect. It matched beautifully with that floral background paper. Now, when I was going through my stash, I had a really hard time, surprisingly, because I've been scrapbooking, you guys know, for 18 years, of just ephemera to go with this layout. And it was, just trouble like with the colors, and nothing was matching. So I knew right away that I had to kind of create my own. If you don't have embellishments, gotta think out of the box and see what you can make. And so what I decided to do was I went through my 6x6 paper pad. I have a huge stash of 6x6 paper pad, and I found this one by Teresa Collins, which is called Vintage Finds. And I was looking through it and I absolutely love it because most of the papers are cream based and black, and a lot of them are printed, so it's almost like a dictionary, or it has a whole bunch of words on it, and it just makes it a really nice neutral background. So I knew I wanted to use some of those papers to make my flowers. And what I did was I just went to my silhouette cut store and I found a flower that I liked. It is a flower that is on that background paper, however it's not really dominant. It's very very small, they're very tiny, they don't really pop. You have to look for them on that 6x6 paper, but they do match. And as soon as I saw that one, I knew that's the one I wanted because I wanted to add stitching, and I wanted the stitching to be something that I could stitch around the flower very easily. I have a sewing machine, but it is still giving me problems, so I don't know if I'm going to just have to buy a new one, break down and buy a new one, or what. But there's the flowers, and there's the stitching that I did. I actually had the embroidery thread, the colors, to coordinate beautifully. And then I went through my stash, and when I first started scrapbooking, there was this company that had buttons, and I'm not kidding you, I bought every single collection that they had, and I still have them. So as soon as I saw the green ones, they're just plain avocado looking green buttons, and I just thought that was perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and use those. So I'm trying to use some glue because they do have a lot of dimension because of the threading and because of the button that they're going to tend to lift off the page. So I needed a super strong glue, and I knew that my ATG gun wouldn't be able to do the trick. So I grabbed my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive, and then I noticed that it was still kind of bubbling up. So I'm going to actually take some foam adhesive and add those on the back of the flower. One of the great benefits of having punches or a digital die cutting machine or even a manual die cutting machine is creating your own ephemera with pattern paper. And so I love the fact of how these flowers came out. The one thing I didn't notice though is that the one paper that I used, the Teresa Collins, on the one side was lines and on the other side is words, and I'm going to put the two flowers together with lines on it, on one on the top and then the ones with the words on the bottom. And I actually wanted to mix it up, so I'm going to do that and correct it here in a minute. But on a little side note, if you don't follow me on social media, on Instagram, that's one of my biggest platforms that I use versus Facebook. It's just a lot more easier for me because I'm on such a time restraint that it's just easier for me to use. And I did a story about my room being a complete mess, and it was so funny because so many scrappy friends were like, oh my gosh, Desiree, if I could just go to your house and or help you organize. And I'm usually an organized person. However, I just think I'm a little overwhelmed right now with some things, and my room right now is a disaster. All over my floor, I have, I'm not kidding you, like 13 boxes of like pizza boxes full of embellishments of Christmas because I'm still working on my 2016 December daily. And in fact, when I was trying to sew these flowers, I couldn't find my sewing machine because my room is such a mess. And it was buried under a bunch of paper, or not paper, under the pizza boxes and just a whole bunch of stuff. Well, I'm now trying for this layout, I'm also trying to find my paper trimmer. And so I'm looking around the room and I could not find it after looking for a long time. So I brought out this old one that I have as a backup. It's one of the first paper trimmers I ever bought. And I was just like, all right, I got to keep moving on. So I used scissors to cut paper. I have used my paper trimmer for this layout. I have to say it was not my fault. I just recently found it, and this has been going like 4 days now. My kids had it. So it was up in their room. They took it out of my scrapbooking room and was using it for who knows what. But I just need to organize my room. Anyways, so now I'm adding some ink splatters for the Heidi Swap Shine in that gold that is just absolutely amazing. And then I'm going to pick out the only embellishment that that had the right colors to go with this layout, and it's by Dear Lizzie. It's a thicker, I don't remember what the collection was called, but it says Let the Good Times Roll. And I'm going to put that down, and then I'm going to realize that was not the embellishment I wanted to use. But because my room is such a mess, it was this other one by My Mind's Eye that had the blue and had the orange that says The Good Life. So I thought about putting another side title of saying Always Up for Fun, but I ended up deciding to scratch that. So here on the bottom, it was going to have my journaling, but instead I'm going to move the journaling up at the top. You're not going to see it because lately I've just been wanting to do the journaling later because I want to take more time and more thought to put in my words. And then that's it. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time too. I did not have enough time to take photographs because it is getting so dark so early. By the time I get home, in the glare of the lights, I'm just having a really hard time to photographing my layout. So I apologize, but hopefully by seeing this frame, you get the idea of exactly how this layout looks. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for joining the Crafty Maven, and I will talk to you soon. You all have an amazing day. Bye.